Hey everybody, welcome to this podcast, Scoots' Wrestling Podcast with Andrew Lee, bro. Andrew Lee, how you doing, bro?
I am doing fantastic, man. Are you ready for World War III, Ray?
Guys, I don't know if you know this, but in 1995, there was a Third World War. It took place in Virginia over the course of one night. Um, how come they didn't call 1996 World War IV? I don't
Yeah,
understand.
and
Like,
then in the following year there was another World War III. In the
there
following
was a
year,
4 years of World War III. And I'll tell you who didn't win, the viewers. Dude, this was a great show until that last match, and that
oh
last
my
match
god.
was an abomination.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of a WCW pay-per-view. Remember when we would be watching and we're like, they somehow always find a way to get in their own way?
Yeah.
This was a true WCW show. It's going
And
well, and at the end they somehow still manage to be like to just get in their own way and just fuck up a good show. That's absolutely WCW's MO. You got to give them credit.
and
They're very consistent.
they are. And you know what it is? It's like I think they thought like, well, WWF has 30, so we're gonna do 60. So that's like twice as better as
Yes,
WWE. Like we're
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what they were thinking. I'm
but
100% sure that's
there
exactly what.
there's a reason why WWE doesn't have 60 guys wrestling at once because you can't fucking watch it. It's unwatchable. Um,
It's
we'll
so
get
hard to
to the
keep
main
track
event in a
of.
second, but the
Yes.
main event ruins the show. The show is not that bad till the main event.
No, it's not bad until the end. And let's get into it. World War III. As Ray mentioned, 60 men, three rings, three giants. Remember, this is very important. They label three giants. It's in the tagline. One battle royal.
Mhm.
This takes place November 26th, right after, or I guess right around Thanksgiving time, 1995, in Norfolk, Virginia. 12,000 people are in attendance. Only 90,000 pay-per-view buys though. So if you want to do a little comparison, Survivor Series, which took place just like a week ago, November 19th, drew 128,000 buys, and Starrcade 1995, which will be the next WCW pay-per-view after World War III, will draw 75,000 buys. So if you're looking, WWE kind of still has an edge, and this 90K is a low number, but Starcade is actually going to draw even lower.
You want to know why it's a little Stargate's a little number? Nobody gives a fuck about New Japan. That's why.
Good point, especially
Yeah.
not in 1995. You know,
Well, even today, they don't give a fuck. That's why the ratings drop when they do the Forbidden Door fucking build.
I think you might
Um,
be right. As much as I like New Japan, when Okada has meant nothing, Will Ospreay has meant nothing, right? It's just, yeah, you're right.
I mean,
Shinsuke
the thing.
Nakamura means nothing right now.
I mean, he means something because they're forcing him to be something, but no one gives a fuck about. No one cares. Like, oh, like especially. Well, first of all, it's even hard to watch now, New Japan, and it's easier to watch more so than ever. But like, I mean, this is when we get into Starcade, but especially the '90s. Like, you have to be a tape trading idiot to like be excited for like, oh, New Japan and WCW are going to go head to head. Who cares? Like, especially
Yeah,
the way
if
this
you're a
show
casual,
ends.
hmm
This show ends basically teasing Macho Man Hogan. And instead they go, but hey, listen, that's for 2 weeks from now. But
yeah.
this show, I think, also drew low because I don't think people give a shit about a three-ring battle royal. No one gives a shit.
Oh, anyways, it still starts off good. We get a great '90s intro, and it's hyping the three-ring battle royal. Tony Schiavone, Bobby the Brain Heenan, they welcome us, and they hype the rest of the card, and they also hype up CompuServe. Uh,
Mhm.
did you have CompuServe growing up, man?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I did. They were like, "Oh, you guys can go on the internet and you can write us a question using electronic mail using CompuServe." And I was
Can
like,
you can you access like the CompuServe archives? I'm wondering. I want to know the people because there were people that could get the internet and were using it to talk about WCW World War III. Like they ordered the show and then they're sitting on their big desktop computer typing like, "Oh, this match only gets 2 stars."
"Yeah,
Probably
yeah,
Tony Khan. Probably Tony
I would
Khan.
love to." Yeah.
Tony Khan was on CompuServe, I bet.
Oh, I bet you he was 100%. Yeah, yeah. This
Mm-hmm.
is like 1995. He's our age. So how old is he? He is like
He's
13 years old.
14.
He's
14.
13, 14 years old. He's 100% getting the internet at this point. I didn't. I was too poor to afford the internet at this point, but he
I mean,
has it.
I said like wow a long time ago, but literally like 4 years later, I was like on the message boards in college checking what people thought of Survivor Series '99. So it's not that far away from where the internet wrestling community is like becomes like a big deal. So
Yeah.
and already they're kind of acknowledging the community as soon as the show starts. I've always heard about this segment, but when it hit, it's very so you missed Halloween Havoc 95. I'm gonna say something. This is probably the lowest point of Hulk Hogan's career as a character in the work rate rise. He seems
Yes.
very insecure and he seems very unsure of what to do. And this opening interview was atrocious, but you can talk
Yes,
about it.
absolutely. So Mean Gene Okerlund, he is with Hulk Hogan, he's with Sting, and he's with Randy Savage. Hulk Hogan is dressed all in black. He's got no mustache, no because this is what's happening in his gimmick right now. And as he's talking, he rips off all his black and he throws it in the trash can and they light it on fire and he goes, "We're burying this black attire the same way we're gonna bury the Dungeon of Doom." And I don't care what Hogan's like, I don't care what Sting's trip is with Lex Luger shit like that. Macho Man, however, he's like, Sting, you're the coolest dude in the world. He goes, what's the funniest line? He goes, Sting, you're the coolest dude in the world. But all this Sting ball washing does not affect Sting because you know what Sting's focused on right now? He's fucking. He's focused on the fire that's happening in the trash can.
Yeah,
It's
it's going out
making.
of control.
Yeah, it's making all this smoke. It looks like it's going out of control. Sting's just like focused on it, and you see him like mouthing off somebody backstage. I mean, off a camera. He gets some water and he has to put it out. Like he's so like like it is concerning. It was making way too much smoke.
Because also Hogan's like meandering. He's not. I think the point is we're going to start a fire, then I'm going to throw the observer in the fire, and
Yeah,
instead he's just like going on and on and on and his thing is like we're supposed to put the fire out by now, dude. Like this is a
yeah.
problem.
Hogan just keeps on talking, and they do put the fire out because it was getting out of control. But right after they put the fire out, Hogan starts talking about the rag sheet, as he calls it, and he says the rag sheets are wrong. They're wrong about the Giant, and they're wrong about Hulk Hogan. And I guess he was supposed to throw it in the fire too, but it was already out at this point. So he throws it down. It's a very weird segment because I'm like, number one, already visually it looks very weird because Hulk Hogan doesn't even have a mustache. But like him talking about the rag sheets, the fire, and it's very like you're right. Looks very much like Hulk Hogan in his lowest creative aspect, and he seems to be not having confidence in who, not only in what he's doing, but in who he is as well. You know?
Well, first of all, this is the first time we've seen on pay-per-views someone just acknowledges the Wrestling Observer ever,
Mhm.
and it's Hulk
Yeah.
Hogan, which is crazy. And I can tell that the Observer probably reported that Randy Savage was injured and Giant was going to get the belt, and probably was also saying how WCW stinks. You know what I mean? And I, but I think like to draw attention to the Observer, especially because there weren't fans that the majority of the audience wasn't like today. Whereas, like, if CM Punk pulled out the Observer on like fucking Saturday Night's Main Event, start burning it, like I don't know, like everyone would know what he's talking about. They'd be like, "Oh yeah," but like back then, like people were probably like, "What is this guy going on about?" Like, because
Yeah,
like they
yeah,
were
I
more
would
of
have
a secret,
in
and it's surprising.
1995, if I had saw this, I wouldn't know what the hell he was talking about. You
Yeah,
know? So what's
it's
rag
also
sheet?
kind
Yeah.
of surprising to see Hogan selling for like the fucking like basic like Dave Meltzer. That's crazy. And the did you notice he's like the internet fans have the real scoop. The internet is where you go. You don't go to these dirt sheets. Like almost like trying to imply like the internet's gonna be the future of reporting and don't listen to these guys. I don't know. Where now they're
Well,
like, don't listen to the internet.
he's kind of right. The internet did become the future of
Yeah.
reporting.
So
So
when I started getting back into wrestling, I got like a Black White magazine, and Dave Meltzer. I never heard Dave Meltzer before, but Dave Meltzer had an ad in one of the wrestling magazines, and they were like, "You gotta subscribe to the headliner was you have to subscribe to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. The newsletter is so controversial. Hulk Hogan burned it on live TV. Hulk Hogan doesn't want you to read this. That was like the thing that they And I was like, what is he reporting that Hulk Hogan like took TV time out to burn this? I went with the torch instead, but like he was using that as a way to sell newsletters, and I bet you it worked.
Yeah, because you know what they did, to his credit, to Dave Meltzer's credit, he did he did get under Hogan's skin, and that helped him get this publicity, right? That
Mm-hmm.
Hogan acknowledging them. So to give, you got to give the dog his day. He did what he was supposed to do. So
It just
I'll give him
it's
that, but it's
just
very weird. Absolutely,
dude, it's just so weird to see Hogan selling for like
yeah.
internet rumors in 1995, and I just feel like I think down deep he knew because in the summer of '95, Bischoff said you should turn heel, and he said no, and I think down deep he knows that's the right move. He just doesn't know how he's going to do it, but I think he
I would
knows.
even
Like
say, yeah, if Hogan was never at this point, maybe we would have never gotten the NW the way it was, right?
I
Hogan
think so.
needed to be, yeah, Hogan needed to be at a low point for him to be like, I gotta turn heel. If everything was
Yeah,
going smoothly, he'll be like, brother, there's like so much money in this. I'm not doing that,
I
right?
think he put a lot of I think he put a lot of thought into it. I don't think
Yeah,
this was something he decided on the spur of the moment. I think he put a lot of thought into it, and listen, it fucking worked for a while at least. But
yeah. It changed everything. It did. It did change
it
everything.
did.
And we, um,
You
if
know,
you
it
guys,
feels like
I,
this whole show. It feels like he's fighting against his destiny. It's like, no, you're
mm,
destined to turn heel now. You can't keep fighting it. Like
I
like the cracks are
remember,
showing.
I remember like Undertaker didn't put the creation of the NWO in like the top moments in wrestling, and he's wrong. It is. That's
Mhm.
why there's even things like Bullet Club and stuff. That's why we're still feeling it today. You know, it was a
Yeah,
huge moment. It's got to be one of the biggest moments in wrestling.
and
But anyway,
we're on the way. We're on the way.
we are on the way. Definitely, this show. You can see it's the precursor for two major events that's going to happen in wrestling. Okay, and NWO is one
Mhm.
of them. I'll talk about the other one when we get to it. Okay, so we get a
He re-
recap of the Diamond Doll, Kimberly Page, walking out on DDP. She's fed up for valeting for DDP, and DDP basically she puts herself up in this match. She goes, "All right, well, I'll put myself up in this match that you have against Johnny B. Bad, and we're gonna go to our first match, television title on the line." Diamond Doll's Page with Diamond Doll versus Johnny B. Bad, the television champion. They fight on the floor right away from the beginning with Johnny B. Bad having a clear edge on DDP. DDP, however, he puts the Diamond Doll right in front of him, which so that Johnny B. Bad has to stop, and this allows DDP to sucker punch Johnny B. Bad, and it begins the heat process. Johnny B. Bad, he does mount a comeback, and Diamond Doll loves it, and she starts giving him the 10 plus sign, which gets cheers from the audience. And Johnny B. Bad is able to hit a power bomb, but he only gets a 2 count. Johnny B. Bad tries his bad mood finisher, but he hits the Diamond Dallas Page's knees instead. But later, Johnny B. Bad hits a tombstone on DDP for gets a 2 count, and then he actually hits his bad mood, and then a slingshot leg drop to win the match and the I guess the services the Diamond Doll. They hug afterwards, Johnny B. Bad and Diamond Doll, and she looks a little confused. Then Mean Gene Okerlund's in the aisleway. He's hyping the hotline, and he goes, "Guys, folks, you got to call the hotline. We have more information on the WWF steroid scandal," which was pretty interesting. And then after that, he starts talking to Johnny B. Bad and the Diamond Doll. And Johnny B. Bad says, "Hey, you know what? I'm a gentleman. I'm going to give the Diamond Doll a chance to decide if she wants to manage me or not." And she goes, "I'll think about it." Not a bad opener. I give this a B plus. What about you, Ray?
Well, the last show, which again you missed, they had the match of the night. I don't know if that indicates how good they were or how bad the rest of that show was, but they had the match of the night at Halloween Havoc. This match was not as good. It was still pretty solid. I have to admit, DDP, this is when he was supposedly a shitty wrestler. He's holding his own there with Johnny B. Bad. It might be a lot of because how good Johnny B. Bad is, even though, Steve Austin said he's the worst wrestler to ever live. What I did like, and I never saw her act this good again, was the way Diamond Doll was like sad that DDP lost. Like I feel like from what I gathered, and I don't know if they explained this on TV. I think the character thought if I give this stipulation, DDP is going to win because I'm going to motivate him so much. So when he
Mm.
loses, she doesn't really know how to react to him losing. Like she didn't want to go with Johnny B. Bad, you know. And I
I
don't
mean,
know if
she
they
did
paid her
get
off on
sense
TV.
because she looked a little worried. Yeah, you know,
Yeah, and
she wasn't like 100% on board. Yeah,
that's pretty good character development for WCW, Kimberly Page, and DDP. I don't know if they follow through with it. Maybe the next night she's just like, "Yeah, Johnny be bad. I'll be your manager." Like I don't know, but like it
I
kind
mean,
of seemed that
you and I, we've been reviewing Johnny B. Bad matches now for close to like 2 years, and
yeah.
I think my opinion is that he was actually a pretty solid wrestler. You know,
Every
I
time I
don't
see him,
know. Every time I see have want to see watch one of his matches, he's having either like just basic like nothing bad match to either a really good match. There's no bad
mm.
matches from Johnny B. Bad, not a single bad one. It's
Well, he's got
incredible.
one more. I think he's got one or two more pay-per-view appearances, and he becomes Mark Marrow. So we'll see what happens. But
Yeah,
his time as Johnny B. Bad is almost at an end. But this was a pretty solid match. Now the other thing, which I was like, wow, was bringing up the steroid scandal, how it's not over yet, which
yeah,
pretty ballsy for them to say. The last name brought up a great point because everyone in WCW was on steroids too. Vader, Sting.
of
Sting
course.
Sting was never off them. And somehow the government didn't go after them. They only went after Vince. But to like kind of like just say it out loud like that, it's almost like you're playing with fire. Like, what if Vince was like, "Oh, I know where Sting gets his drugs. I'm gonna tip off the fucking feds." Like you're playing with fucking fire to just say that shit. But they were really on the offensive, bro.
Yeah, this is like you could see like this is where they're really starting to. They want to take it to WWE. Like they really want to take it to
And they
like
have a
obviously.
confidence about it.
Yeah, obviously Nitro going head to head, and now this, they're just openly like shitting on them, mentioning them. This is all like going in the direction of what they're eventually going to do, and they're going to really start going. They're already going for the jugular, basically. They're
Well,
already
on the
going
on
for
the show, on the sorry, bro, on
it.
Nitro, Bischoff is already like talking shit about them.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, they're already. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're already going for the jugular. I personally, I like it. I like it. Yeah, this
well,
is all.
you know what I like about them doing it is that they're doing it and winning. They're not doing it and losing. It's
Yeah,
which is what Tony Khan does. You know, Bischoff knows, oh, I'm getting more viewers than Raw, and then he just fucking and then he has a great point like, don't bother watching the Shawn Michaels Sid match. Shawn beats him with 5 super kicks, like that's believable. And then he moves on. Like it's one thing if like they're getting destroyed in the ratings, and it's they're backing it up. They're backing up, and they're also putting on better shows.
yeah. Let's go to our second match because this was something else. It was a taped fist match. It
Mm.
is Big Bubba Rogers versus Jim Duggan, his eternal enemy. Uh, Jim Duggan sneak attacks Bubba Rogers from behind on the walkway, and Jim Duggan he tries to use his 2x4, but Roger begs off. And as he's begging off and he's trying to get sympathy, he sucker punches Jim Duggan. They fight. They go from one. Remember, so I should talk about this. So World War III, the way it's set up, there's 3 rings, right? And the match
Mm-hmm.
is supposed to take place in one ring in the middle or so. But they fight over Jim Duggan and uh, Big Bubba
Big
are the
Bubba.
first ones to fight to a different ring. They go from one ring to the next one, and then Duggan shoves Rogers' head. This was a cool spot. The rings are close. They're close to each other, and almost like in a diagonal way. And Jim
Mm-hmm.
shoves Bubba's Rogers' heads in between 2 of the posts between the rings. And that was a cool looking spot. However, Bubba gets Jim to land rib first on the guardrails, and then Rogers begins the heat process. He starts beating him up. Rogers starts taping up his fist even more. Remember, their hands are already all taped up, but he puts even more tape on his hands for some reason. Even the commentators like, why is he putting more tape on? Is they already taped up? But he puts more tape on, and this is stupid because Big Bubba Rogers, he's taking time putting the tape on his hand, and this allows Jim Duggan to recover and start fighting back. And then Rogers, though, he tapes Jim Duggan to the ropes, and then he runs the ropes, but he runs right into a fist that Jim Duggan holds up. Duggan frees himself, but then Michael Wall Street, the former IRS, he shows
Mhm.
up, and Duggan nails him with the 2x4. But this allows um, Bubba Rogers to have the chain that Wall Street threw into the ring, wrap it around his fist, and he nails Jim Duggan. They both go down. Rogers has some blood on his face, but remember, this is not like a pinfall match. It's like it's because it's tape fist. Is the first person who gets up out of a 10 count. Rogers gets up before the 10 count to win this match. It's C plus. You know,
Yeah.
they tried.
Um, most shows this would be the worst match on the card. However, this is not most shows.
Yeah.
Pretty bad. I'm a big fan of Duggan in WWF. I'm a big fan of Big Boss Man in WWF. Both guys have seen better days. It's not what it was. I think Boss Man still had a lot to offer. I think Jim Duggan was done at this point. Like he was just done. Like it's just not. It doesn't work anymore. And then you add in DK Wall Street, and it's like, ugh. And it somehow is out. He looks even dumber in this new outfit.
Yeah,
Like
he looks
it's just,
worse in this one, but yeah.
yeah. It just looks like three fucking guys who are past their prime still going at it. I'm done. Jim Duggan going to WCW and sticking up the joint on pay-per-views really has ruined his luster for me a lot.
You know what they should have done with all three guys was they should have paired him off with people like either younger or like they haven't faced before. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? Like,
I think they think that if Bossman and Duggan are fighting, that'll appeal to WWF fans that turn the way. I think that's what they think.
oh, that's what they were. Yeah, I could see that, but I think that was a mistake. They should have been like, it should have been like Brian Pillman getting into a feud with like Jim Duggan or something, you know, because something
Mm-hmm.
fresh. It would have been fresh for everybody. But yeah,
Yeah,
this is not it.
it's just lesser than because these guys in 88, 89, this would have been a great match. And now it's just like it just is like it just you so badly want to be WWF in 89. You never will be. You know?
Yeah. Mhm. So after this match, we get Gene Okerlund. He is with Ric Flair, and Ric Flair's got his swag back. He's like, the great one is back. And he says, you know what? Tonight I got Savage, I got Luger, I got Hogan, I got Sting all in one place, and I am going to rule WCW once more. Good, quick, vintage Flair promo, a heel promo. I liked it. Good stuff.
It was good. It was good. A lot
You
of
know what else I like?
promos on this show. And
Yeah,
live too.
a lot of people were doing great here, including this next match. It is going to be a women's tag team match. Cutie Suzuki and Mayumi Azaki versus Bull Nakano and Akira Hakuto. Both those
Akira
women.
Hokuto.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What did you say? Akira Juventud?
Hokuto.
Hokuto, yeah, Hokuto,
That's
Akira
how they were saying
Hokuto.
that.
But yeah, you're right. And Bill Nakano, they were actually a tag team in the Collision for Korea match, but they're here again. But this time it's a little worse because they have Sonny Ono as their manager.
Oh,
But
fucking
yeah. Anyways, Mike Tenay has to join them on commentary because he's actually gonna give a lot of like detail and background on all these people. He lets us know this is actually a historic match because Bull Nakano and Akira Hokuto, they're from the All Japan women's pro wrestling, while Cutie and Azaki, they're from the JWP promotion. So it's almost like they're from two different Joshi promotions, and they're fighting in this another promotion. So it's actually pretty interesting. Um,
Mhm.
Bull and Akira, they attack the small faces right away. They beat on Azaki, including biting her arm. They're both taking turns biting her arm. The faces, however, make a comeback with dual half crabs applied in the middle of the ring. The crowd loves this. They applaud the women's efforts. Cutie in this match, she might be the best looking out of all four. Someone could argue. I wouldn't say she's the best looking, but I can see that argument. But she is by far the worst one out of these four women. She
She
reminded me a
reminds me of
lot
like a
of
Minoru Suzuki. What's the one? The one they all
no.
love. That remember
She
they
reminded me of Riho.
Riho. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, who
she's
was the
really
one? Who was the one that would make the post like "Hello, weebs," and everybody would be
oh
like, "Oh, she's so."
Maki Ito.
She reminded me of Maki Ito, but not over the top. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. She reminds you of the Joshis that stink right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because she's small, her gear is crappy. I don't believe any of her offense. It's just like, and she's like relying on being cute. That's basically the gist of some of those Joshis we're not into, right? Anyway, the good guys they take turns doing. This is a cool spot. Both Cutie and Azaki they took turns doing top turnbuckle stomps on Bull Nakano. That shit was rough. They did it 4 times. They're just jumping off the top, doing the coup de grace 4 times on one person in a row. That's
Mm-hmm.
insane. All four in the ring at once, fighting for a while, some back and forth action. Hakuto hits a high German suplex with Azaki landing right on her head. It looked awful, but she was fine. Hakuto hits a flip splash on both women while they're on the floor. Then they bring Azaki in the ring and they do a doomsday device on her. Azaki is out of it, and Bull Nakano goes up on the top rope and hits a huge guillotine leg drop on Azaki to win the match. B plus. This might have been one of the best matches on the show tonight on World War Three.
110%. These women gave their all. Even the one who stunk was way better than most of the wrestlers
Yes,
in WCW at the time.
yes,
And again, something that I can't stress enough with these matches, why these matches work in WCW, why they work even now, like years later, and they still stand out. Mike fucking Tenay. I've said this before. I'll say it again. He adds so much to this match. He is constantly giving info, and then Bobby Heenan plays off the info. Like, do you remember he starts talking about the All Japan Women's School and how you get in and how the training is?
mm-hmm.
And then Bobby Heenan just goes like, "Yeah, I saw Mean Gene trying to sneak in there last week. Did you see? He had a wig on and stuff." And he's making it fun, but he's not taking away from the knowledge that Mike Tenay is giving you. So if you're sitting at home, if you're like some fucking guy from, I lock the NWA, I'm here to watch World War III. And these women come out, who the hell are these women? Mike Tenay comes out and breaks down everything you need to know, why you
Mm-hmm.
should care about this match, and then
Mm-hmm.
the women make you care with their work rate. And then the women got a lot of time. It's such a simple little fucking thing. And the reason why I keep emphasizing it is because AEW doesn't know how to do this. And they shove these people on way more. Right now, right now, one of the main storylines is based on a Stardom storyline. Like it's Maria May and the other one, what's Minoru Suzuki, the one who's
Yeah,
like, look
yeah,
at my pickies. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
They're feuding and they're talking about stuff that happened in Stardom, kind of, but they're being vague about it as if we all watched this show. And it's like, bro, just fucking have Mike Tenay out there. Have someone like a Mike Tenay out there to be like, the reason why they don't like each other, they were friends. Their friendship started here. Crack started here. Just fucking tell it to me, man. Fucking, I don't watch Stardom. And then the people on the internet are like, well, you should Google it. No, I fucking want to watch this show. Tell me why I should care. And
Did you
also,
see
how do
that?
you watch Stardom?
Did you see that link I sent you? It was Brian Alvarez talking about that exact same angle and how
Oh, he
bad.
is. I gotta watch it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a 5 minute. You don't have to watch it. It's an audio clip, pretty much, right? But he's
Mm-hmm.
talking about that same exact AEW storyline and how it's not good, and they say it's classic AEW booking.
But
Basically,
it
talking about
is.
how
It's
it's
like,
yeah.
You
By the
assume I watched the show. First of all, I know a girl who watches Stardom. She has to legally stream it, right? It's
mm-hmm,
on at like 3 in the fucking morning. So you're assuming that after I watch AEW every week, because shouldn't I be watching AEW if I'm going to watch wrestling? After I watch AEW every week, I stay up till 3 in the morning and watched all of Stardom. So I know what the fuck you're talking about with Maria May. It's so fucking dumb, bro. But man, like, and then they want to talk shit, and I'll talk shit about him a lot as we go through this fucking podcast. Eric Bischoff. Why did Eric Bischoff know enough to have Mike Tenay explain to people the storylines? Why? And you don't. And you don't.
yeah. And here's the thing too. I want to just go back to you mentioning Bobby Heenan because some people are going to listen to what we're saying and think he's just shitting on them the whole time. here's the thing. At the end of the match, Bobby Heenan goes, "That might have been the greatest women's tag team match I've ever seen." So you
Mhm.
see him goofing on them in the beginning, and then just by the end of the match, he's putting them over, which even means more
They
because he's shitting on them from the beginning. So it's good, man. This probably was the best match on the show, and
Oh, I
everything
think
about it
Sting
was
and Ric
great.
Flair. I think Sting and Ric Flair had a better match, but like this is how you do it. This is how you present it. This is how you like. If people are tuning in to watch Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, this is how you get them to care about four female wrestlers they never heard of. They might have heard of Bull Nakano WWE. It's just, and it's a great match, and it's just everything. I was very impressed with this whole match and the presentation.
These
I'm very
four
very
women
impressed.
do not have a storyline happening in WCW at this moment.
No,
They just put them in
no,
there, and the work rate gets it over, and the commentary team puts it over, and that's how you do it when you have a match where there's no storyline involved, right?
Mhm.
Um, Anyways, Mean Gene Okerlund, he is with Jimmy Hart, the new heel Jimmy Hart and Lex Luger, and they are, believe it or not, getting booed. And then Jimmy Hart starts mocking Randy Savage, and he goes, "Yeah, Lex Luger, here's the real deal." And then Lex Luger looks at Jimmy, and he goes up for the high five, and Jimmy Hart just leaves him hanging for like a good 10 seconds. And then Lex Luger just has to drop his hand. Did you see this video clip I sent you? It's
Oh yeah,
hilarious.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Dude, Jimmy
Anyways,
Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart sucks.
so
Jimmy
funny.
Hart sucks. What?
I just think it's so funny that Lex is
No, it
just left
is.
him hanging. Oh,
But
it's
I mean,
hilarious.
it's like, bro, it's like he just constantly is just he's just all he is him and Sonny Ono have the same problem. They just are taking away the attention, the camera time from the stars. They just take away from the stars.
Yeah. And anyways, Lex Luger basically says he's gonna take out Savage, and then he's
Mhm.
going to win the battle royal, and then he's gonna become the champion. So all right, here we go. Let's go to match number 4 though. This is not with Lex Luger. It is for the US title, Chris Benoit, who is now signed with WWE, WCW because of the whole New Japan working relationship, versus Kinsaki Sasaki, who is a champion, who also comes out with Sonny Ono. And unlike the women's tag team match, Sonny Ono is like looking to the camera. He's doing that goofy Asian accent thing. They during the
I'm
entrances, by the way.
convinced. I'm convinced
Yeah,
Sonny Ono is a white guy in disguise all these years, and they're gonna reveal it.
I am
I've never
convinced.
seen. I've never seen an Asian person just set back Asian people every time they move.
I am convinced that Sonny Ono enjoys doing that voice. Like he
I
enjoys.
think he's a self-hating Asian person. I really do.
Yeah, I think he really enjoys like doing that. Right.
I, I remember,
Anyway,
dude. I remember when I started rewatching wrestling. He was, and I used to tell a lot of racist jokes in school back then. He was
yeah,
offensive to me back then as a fucking piece of shit kid.
yeah. He's on another level of offensiveness. It's like
Yeah,
he Sonny Ono is on another level of go away heat,
yeah.
Like it's like a whole new thing. It's a whole other thing. Anyways, they by the way, I thought it was funny. During the entrances, they showed a close up of one of the Hooters girls like waving, and like Bobby Heenan like it stumbled. He's like middle of speech and he stopped. It was like a long pause. I thought that was kind of funny. Um Anyway, Chris Benoit at this point, he's now a four horseman. And in the beginning of the match, he does do that four horseman symbol and uh, right into Sasaki. And Sasaki doesn't like it. So he just starts chopping the crap out of Chris Benoit. They start wrestling. Chris Benoit does a dive onto Sasaki on the outside and almost hits his head on the rail when he does that. Um, During this match, I've noticed this, but there were these two guys in the front row on the hard camps, like facing the hard camp side, that will not sit down. And you see this kind of large attendance lady come and start yelling at them, which I thought was kind of funny in this match. But so if
Sit
you're
down.
watching, yeah, you'll probably see that. Look out for that. Anyways, this match was fine until there's a point where they get Sonny Ono to join on commentary, and he's got to do that stupid voice. And he's talking to about Bobby Heenan. Oh, we Japanese, we like the money. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? You just like you, like you're Japanese. Why are you putting yourself down like this? It's so insane. And
Because he thinks that ingratiates himself with white people.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Anyway, Chris Benoit hits a tombstone pile driver, and then hits a huge flying headbutt on Kenzuki Sasaki. However, Sasaki fights back, hits a huge clothesline of his own, and then the Northern Lights bomb scoop brainbuster, which was invented by his wife, who we just saw in the match previous, Akira Hakuto, and Sasaki wins the match. I gave this match, even with the shitty Sonny Ono commentary, I gave it a B. I think probably gave it a B because of the shitty commentary. But yeah, not a bad match. I liked it. What about you?
It, it was pretty good. Again, we're seeing what Benoit can do, and like I said, Benoit and Guerrero they really add a lot. They really add a lot to these shows, and we're seeing what he adds right now. I enjoyed the match. I don't like Sonny Ono though, but I enjoyed the match.
Yeah. So Mean Gene Okerlund, he is with the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan, the Giant, and Jimmy Hart. And Kevin Sullivan says, the Giant is going to win. The Giant's going to win. And Jimmy Hart does his heel promo. And then the Giant says, he's going to throw Hulk Hogan back to Venice Beach. And he starts yelling, rah, rah. Good promo by the Giant. I will give him that. The Giant gave like he sounded like what he should sound like, like just like a raging giant, like right? Like dude, it is like one dimensional, but you're just like, yeah, that's what a giant should sound like, right?
um, it was good. I
Yeah,
don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
yeah,
I
it's
hate
just like
Jimmy Hart and Kevin Sullivan. Yeah.
no, yeah, those two suck. But the Giant was like, I was like, yeah, remember at this point, Giant's like a brand new rookie, right? But he's
Mhm.
doing his role of just being this raging giant. Like, well, I thought that was done well.
Yeah.
Anyways, we get a nice promo recap video package of the problems between Lex Luger and Randy Savage, the issues they've been having where Randy Savage is already very suspicious of him in the beginning, and then Lex Luger and him having a match, and with Lex Luger winning the first one with the Giants' help, and then the Lex Luger turning not on both Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan at Halloween Havoc. And then after this great promo video package, we get Mean Gene Okerlund with Randy Savage, and Gene's like, Randy, you look like you're jittery. And he's like, I'm always jittery. And he's like, oh, but you know what? Like, because I'm always like this. And then Mean Gene's like, are you at 100%? He's like, 100%. I'm at 1,000,000%. I was like, oh, this is good. Good hype video for this next match. If I didn't watch Halloween Havoc, which I didn't, I would still understand what everything's happening up to this point because of this promo package.
Yeah, pretty
So
good.
we're gonna go to match number 5. Savage versus Lex Luger with Jimmy Hart. Unlike the promo package, though, this match was not that good. Randy Savage, he starts the attack right away and he beats on Lex for a while, hits this elbow drop, his top rope elbow, but then Jimmy Hart distracts the referee. So the ref can't make the 3 count. So Randy Savage, he just dumps Lex Luger outside. But then Lex Luger gets a human torture rack on Savage on the floor and then throws Savage back into the ring and puts on an arm bar. But Randy Savage is passed out, so the ref calls the match and gives the win to Lex Luger. But Lex is not letting go, even though the match is over. So Sting runs down, and because Sting and Lex had some history, Sting's like talking to Lex. You don't know what he's saying, but basically Lex lets go of Randy Savage and he leaves. This was a C. This is a letdown after that amazing promo package.
This was not good at all. This was an embarrassment.
I don't
Here's the
even know
other
why
thing.
they decided to do it like this. Why did they just have it like be so
So
uneventful with Savage
yeah,
just like passing out?
here's the other thing. I mean, and I like the match, but why have those women on eating up all the time when Savage and Luger are barely have a match? Um, Man, here's the thing about Savage. I said this at the end of the show. It's been a year since he's left WWF, and I mean, from based on what we've seen, he kind of proved Vince right that his days. I don't know. I mean, they're not doing him any favors. What they're giving him, they're not doing him any favors, right? But this was not good. And they had a match a month ago that was just as bad. And Luger is not good. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why their matches on pay-per-view were so bad and so short, but this was not good.
Yeah, it's just the ending was very weird and very uneventful. Like it was
Mhm.
yeah, it was a huge letdown. Still not the worst thing on the show. Uh anyways, like the previous match, the next match we're also going to get a really great video recap package. It is the recap of the issues between Sting and Ric Flair and how Ric Flair asks for Sting's help, eventually gets Sting's help, even though Sting is hesitant at the beginning, only for Ric Flair to turn on Sting at Halloween Havoc. Great recap video. Go to match number 6, the penultimate match. Ric Flair versus Sting, who comes out with a beautiful looking yellow and blue jacket. It looks like Bret Hart's like Sergeant Pepper jacket, but like cooler, you know?
Mhm.
Um, Ric Flair, he starts the match by facing off with Sting and just shit talking Sting, and then he starts pointing at Sting, and Sting almost tries to bite that finger, and then he starts beating up on Ric Flair. Ric Flair just quickly runs to the next ring, and he's like, "Come on in, come here, I want you in this ring." So then the referee and Sting have to go to that other ring, but it was all a ploy because Ric Flair puts a thumb to the eye, and he starts beating on Sting, but then Sting fights back. So Rick, I mean, has to run away, and he goes to another ring, and he's like, "I want you in this one." Typical Ric Flair antics. I'm into this, and all of a sudden, Sister Sherry and Colonel Rob Parker they come out, and I'm like, "Why are they out here?" And they're sitting there watching this, and they're in love. I'm like, "Oh God, let's try to focus on this match." Ric
Mhm.
Flair he starts goading Sting on the outside, and he gets Sting to like jump and land on the guardrail. And he Ric Flair grabs a chair, but the referee keeps him from using the chair. They get back in the ring, they wrestle some over, and then Flair low blows Sting right under the referee, and then he begins the beatdown process on the face. Ric Flair puts on the figure four on a beaten Sting, but then he starts slapping Sting in the face, which actually backfires because it angers Sting to the point where Sting is able to reverse it. And Ric Flair is now getting frustrated, so he shoves the referee, and the referee pushes Ric Flair back, and he tumbles down. Then Rick runs into another ring again, but this time he can't escape an enraged Sting. Sting hits the superplex and then puts on the Scorpion Deathlock that, if you watch carefully, Ric Flair actually turns into the Deathlock first before Sting. So I was kind of like, eh. Anyway, Sting wins his match. There's a couple of flaws in this match, so I give it a B. Like the ending, you can see like, it's like watching somebody take like Mick Foley's hand and put it into his mouth. Like, you see Ric Flair
Yeah.
turn into the Deathlock, but still a very entertaining match. B, I give it a B. What about you?
I loved it. I give it an A. I thought it was great. The fans are super into it. And
Yes.
here's the thing: when you get to the end of the show, and I think this is the thing. These are the guys that these fans want to see. These are the guys that these fans want to cheer on. They want to. They don't want ex WWF guys. They had them, and they've had enough. They want Sting. Sting is the guy. Sting is a great worker. He's been a great worker since 1992. He should be given the ball, and they're not giving him the ball because of whatever Hogan does. And I think that's one of the reasons why ultimately they failed is that there were moments where Sting should have been given the ball,
Yes.
and they don't. And I think that the reason why the NWO storyline is ultimately a failure is that the NWO storyline is great at first because it's all these ex WWF guys who've come and they've like fucking taken spots from the WCW guys and they chased Dustin Rhodes out and Steve Austin out and Cactus Jack out. Now they just revealed that this was Hogan's plan all along. I'm going to take over the company. And the WCW guys get together. Finally, Lex and Sting and Arn and Flair, they're together, and some of these new guys like Benoit, and we got to stop these WWF guys, even though they're called the NWO. And the storyline should have ended with Sting proving, hey, us WCW guys are better than you guys all along, and the NWO dissolves. Instead, the NWO just keeps beating the shit out of the WCW guys. And then eventually people are like, oh, I guess WWF is better. I guess I'll just watch that. And now no one believes WCW is better worldwide. And You know, Sting. I would have given Sting the title to this night. It was time for him to get the belt again, and I think they really missed out. The fans love these two, and these two can still go. Dude, they were talking about Ric Flair being old at the time for him to retire in 1990, and him and Sting are having just as good, if not better, matches than they were back then. It's
I would
unbelievable.
actually say, when I saw this match, even though I gave it a B, it's a very entertaining match. And I would say that I think after watching this, because now we've been watching Ric Flair's matches from the very first Starrcade, right?
83. Mm-hmm.
I would say Sting is Ric Flair's best like opponent. Like
Yeah,
he is his like something about just the visual of these two guys. It looks like they're like arch enemies for life. You know, just
yeah.
something like Ric Flair represents like the old, and like Sting is like the future. Like you know, Ric Flair is like the past, and like Sting's the future, and it's just like they've got great chemistry too, and they've really got good chemistry.
They
I
do.
like.
I mean, they're. I mean, it was so beautiful. Like the last Nitro with those two having the main event while
Mhm.
Vince is like
Yeah, that's what I
gloating.
was thinking
Like
about. That's what I was thinking about
they
the
are.
last
They are.
minute.
They are the company. They are the resistance. And like, and I get it. I'm watching these 95 shows. I'm getting annoyed because Sting has the crowd. Sting has the work rate. Sting has everything. Everything. And they just keep downplaying him for Hogan. They just keep downplaying him for Hogan.
Then this is where Eric Bischoff was very flawed. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, Bischoff is an idiot because he had something so. It's such a slam dunk and it's so easy, and he still managed to screw it up.
But you know
You know what
what?
I'm saying?
This is the saddest part. He messed up and he stumbled into something even bigger. He fucked up, and then when they did the NWO and Sting didn't get his moment, and they became Pro Sting, they had something bigger. They were building probably the match that could have changed, that could have killed Vince McMahon, Sting Hogan, Starrcade '97, and then he blew it.
Yeah,
Then I mean, like it's you fucked up, but somehow you fuck up into even a bigger like win,
yeah.
and you still fuck it up.
Still fuck it up. That's why I think like you know sometimes that's why I don't think Bischoff is that smart because he still fucks shit up. You know.
And
Anyways,
sometimes it's smarter than I never say he was smart. I say he was smarter than Tony Khan. But
okay,
I
that's good.
enjoyed this. This was my favorite match of the night, personally. So
Yeah. Well, speaking of fuck ups, we gotta talk about the last match, right?
oh
Oh my gosh. Okay, so however, to
dude,
begin, we do get
dude.
another great video recap package. This time it's
Mm-hmm.
about the world title issues. Why are we having this 60-man royal? And this package explains everything, all the title issues of what happened at Halloween Havoc and the giant with the title. And now, after you watch it, you understand. Oh, I totally get why there needs to be this match needs to exist. Mean Gene Okerlund, though, he is with Hulk Hogan once again. He's got no stash, and he gets some booze. He actually does get some booze, and he starts talking about the Royale and just basic Hogan promo. Then Tony Schiavone and Bobby the Brain Heenan says there's 3 rings, so we're actually going to have 3 commentary teams. Ring 2 commentary will be Eric Bischoff and Dusty Rhodes. Ring 3 commentary team will be Chris Cruz and Larry Zbyszko. And we're going to begin our main event, the 60-man
Well, hold on
battle.
before you hold on.
Yes.
Don't get violent. Before you keep going, a few things to note. Number one, first off, they point blank say he's the son of Andre. They just say it out loud.
Uh-huh.
The Yeti has a completely different outfit than what he wore at Halloween Havoc, right? That's number two. And number
Yeah.
three, I thought they were going to say Abdullah the Butcher or One Man Gang as the third giant. They include Hogan as a giant, and they also say the greatest giant of all. You know, they have to. It's just like, oh, this is. He's so insecure, and it's coming through every fucking pore of this show. But
Yeah.
the new package was good. But the Andre the Giant, son of Andre, I was like, wow, you really are just saying it, huh?
Yeah, remember, keep in mind, when I talked about like the beginning of the show, the tagline for World War III, if is 60 men, 3 rings, 3 giants. It's the 3 giants are supposed to be the giant, which is the big show, Hulk Hogan, and the Yeti. Those are the 3 giants they're talking about. And it's key to remember this, okay? Those are the three
Mhm.
giants that's part of the tagline. So unlike the Royal Rumble, where at intervals the next person comes out, so you don't know who it is. It's 60 men. They can't do that, so they're just gonna bring out everybody out at once. So I'm just gonna name you everybody who's gonna be in this match because some of these names, I guarantee you, nobody's actually heard of these guys. Okay, we got Arn Anderson, we got Das Wonder Kid, Alex Wright, Nasty Boys, Brian Knobs, Barrio Boy Ricky. And if you look it up, he's a wrestler who used to go by the name Ricky Santana Ortiz, believe it or not. Um
Oh, he came through a time thing too.
yeah, Rick Santana Ortiz. Think about it, right? Um anyways, Dave Taylor from the UK, Scott Armstrong, Sting, Jumpin' Joey Maggs, Pistol Pez Watley, Disco Inferno. That's the first time I'm seeing Disco here. Meng, Harlem Heat, Stevie Ray, Mark Starr, Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker, Lieutenant James Earl. These two guys start fighting as they're coming out. They're arguing with each other, but they're both military. So I'm guess there was a lot of military actually in this WCW at this time. So
Hmm.
that's two military guys, but Sergeant Buddy Lee and Lieutenant James Earl. Well, they got Lex Luger, Eddie Guerrero, who is still a little flabby here.
The steroids haven't kicked in yet, pal.
They haven't kicked in yet. You're right. Cobra, who's another military guy. That's three. The Giant, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Chris Canyon, Bobby Walker, Bobby Eaton, Chris Benoit, Randy Savage, Buff Bagwell, Yeti, who is in the ninja gear, as
Yeah.
Ray mentioned. No longer a mummy. He's in the ninja gear. Still not a real Yeti, if you think about it. Still not a Yeti.
No,
That's
never
still
yet.
that's not a Yeti still. Yeah. Um, Kurosawa, who is Manabu Nakanishi from New Japan Pro Wrestling, Hugh Morris, Zodiac, Michael Wall Street, Diamond Dallas Page, Scott Norton, Flying Brian, Sergeant Craig Pittman, so the fourth military guy in WCW, One Man Gang, Super Assassin number two, JL, who is Jerry Lynn, I believe, right?
Hmm.
Ray Gooch's favorite WCW wrestler, Bunkhouse Buck. He's in this
Thank
as
God
well.
he was in it.
Yeah, thank goodness he was in it. Yeah, yeah.
Saved the
You
match.
can't have a WCW pay per view without Bunkhouse Buck.
I
Uh,
know.
Kazuki Sasaki, Mike Winner. I've never heard this guy before. Mike Winner, the Shark, Steve Armstrong, Road Warrior Hawk, Dave Sullivan, Scotty Riggs, Johnny B. Bad, Big Train Bart. I never heard of this guy either.
Me
Um,
neither.
Regal, Dirty Dick Slater, who's a tag team partner of Bunkhouse Buck, Max Muscle, Super Assassin 1, Barrio Brother number 2, Fidel, and Kevin Sullivan, Nasty Boys, Jerry Sags, Jim Duggan, Harlem Heat's Booker T, Big Bubba Rogers, Flair, and Hulk Hogan, who comes out last. I love that after they announced all these people, they start noting, hey, yet he looks different. He's got new ring gear. They had to mention that. It was like, yeah, they did. He is one of the marquee guys in this match. Remember, he's one of the three giants. Michael Buffer, he's doing the intro for this match, and I loved it because as he's doing the intro, you see Regal in the back doing these like
Making
Mr.
faces.
Bean. He's making these Mr. Bean faces in the background. I love Regal. It's so good.
So, can I talk about the problems I have with this match before you do the blow by? I don't know how you're gonna do the blow by blow
Yeah,
for this.
I'm just gonna do a little bit, but you can. Let's start with you. Like, tell me what your problems you had.
Okay, so here's the problem. So they have three. So they have three screens with the three rings, right?
The whole time they're
But
showing you three screens, pretty much.
they don't tell you which ring is which. You have to
Yes.
figure it out. And the other thing is sometimes they'll cut like so there should be like, all right, we have three screens. One crew just work on this ring. One crew just work on this ring. One crew work on the third ring, right? No. Sometimes the bottom screen will show sometimes screen will show screen one if something
Yeah.
happens. And sometimes screen will show they'll change, but then so like if something big happens, they'll show it on all three screens, but now you've lost what you're watching on the other screen. And there's just no indication of what screen to watch when. And
Exactly. And you talk about moments, they miss so many moments in this. They
they missed so much
themselves miss
Yeti.
so
So
many moments.
the big thing of the match is the Yeti is the first one to get eliminated, right?
No, he's
Probably
not.
because
Believe it or not, he's not the first one to get eliminated. But he's
well,
but when the match starts, he's like after like literally a couple of seconds, he's like not even in the ring. And I'm like, why is the Yeti not even in the ring? And then it turns out he was actually the second man eliminated. You know who was
yeah.
the first?
Who?
Mike
Who?
Winner. Mike Winner was the first
I
elimination.
for all I know, Mike Winter's still in the match. But here's the other thing. So you watch the Royal Rumble, right? And let's say you're like a fucking you're an Xavier Woods fan, right? You know he's not going to
Yeah,
win, but you're like, oh, I'm always in the Royal Rumble. You can follow Xavier Woods. He's always somewhere on the screen. The
yeah,
action may focus on Drew McIntyre or fucking CM Punk, whoever's, but he's there. And if that's your guy, you. I don't know what happened to William Regal. I don't know how long he was in the match. I never saw him again. He just vanished. If he got eliminated, nobody told me. I don't know what happened to him. Do I think William Regal is going to win the match? No. But I would also like to know what happened to him.
yeah. And remember they talked about the three giants. Yeti was billed as one of the giants for this match, and he's out right away. It's
He's out right
stupid.
away.
Yeah.
And then,
Anyways, one of the things like Ray you talked about like is like when they have three screens the whole time, and sometimes they'll have two of the screens showing the same action. So there's like moments where like they were showing Big Bubba Rogers and Hulk Hogan going at it. Nothing happened. They just fight. But two of the screens are showing two different angles of the same thing.
yeah.
And you're like, what is this? They're not even nothing even happened. Nobody got eliminated. They're just like we're fighting a little bit.
And like, there's one time where on a screen, Hogan and Hawk are fighting, right? And I'm interested in
Yeah.
that. And they cut away. They never mention that Hogan and Hawk were fighting. They never talk about it. There's another one where Hogan's fighting Brian Pillman. Again, they don't acknowledge it. You have to find it for yourself. And the also these announcers are useless. Bischoff and Dusty are useless. Chris Cruz is beyond useless. Chris Cruz, I think, repeats the Yeti got eliminated 15 times while other things are going on the screen. They're not following the screen. I think they see all three screens as well. They don't. I assume that Eric Bischoff just has a screen with his ring, and Chris Cruz has no. I think they were watching the same feed we're watching. It's a fucking clusterfuck, bro. You
Yeah.
can't even enjoy it. It's sensory
No.
overload.
And I'm gonna go over some of the parts, and then you could chime in whenever you want. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try my best to go over some of what happened.
Yeah, I was
So
like, I
right
don't know how
after,
he's gonna recap this. It's almost unrecappable.
yeah. So after we know Mike Winner and Yeti's out, we see Brian Knobs. He takes out Mark Starr. So I did see that elimination. We also see Sergeant Parker and Lieutenant Earl. They get eliminated, and I don't know what their storyline is, but I'm assuming they're partners, but they don't like each other, so they're
Yeah, I guess
arguing after they
but
got
that's the
eliminated.
announcer should have been like these guys have been feuding on WCW Pro and it's spilled over. They're not because the camera's like very focused on them. No one's talking about it.
Yeah. And we mentioned, there's so many things that the cameras will not catch at all. So
Mhm.
Chris Cruz tells us, hey, Bagwell was eliminated, which we did not get to see. But luckily, when he's telling us this, Chris Canyon gets eliminated, which Chris Cruz points out. But the way Canyon got eliminated, he just took a huge bump, like a Cactus Jack bump to the floor. It was insane. I was like, damn, he just all that for
Yeah,
this.
and
Like,
no one knew who this guy was yet. So
yeah. He was trying his best, but it was like, man, you really wasted that bump because at least Cactus Jack, when he took that bump, it was in his own match. Like, you're just a footnote in this, you know?
buddy,
So,
who better
yeah.
than Canyon?
Yeah. Tony Schiavone, he tells us that the big train is out, which we didn't see as well. Then we see Fidel get out. Uh,
Traded.
Not Buddy, Bobby Walker, he gets thrown out by Pittman, Sergeant Craig Pittman. Then we see Eddie Guerrero, he drop kicks the Barrio brother Ricky out, and then Sting, he throws what do you call it, Stevie Ray out, and then the Giant throws out Brian Knobs. Then we see Wright and Watley, they get thrown out. And then Tony Schiavone lets us know that Scotty Riggs was eliminated, which we didn't see at all as well.
Yeah, and that guy at the time is a prevalent character on the show, and he
Yeah,
just
he's one of the American males
yeah,
Marcus
all the
Bagwell, but we
American
didn't see
males
him
just
eliminated.
oh, there's also a lot of people who like kind of have somewhat of a name and kind of are somewhat of a draw, at least in my eyes are treated like complete fucking losers, like they don't matter.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like like we said, Alex Wright, he just gets eliminated with Watley. Nobody really talks about it, nobody cares, right? There's no storyline happening. He just gets eliminated. We see Randy Savage. We see him take out Bobby Eaton, and Tony Schiavone lets us know Dick Slater was eliminated, which we also didn't see. Um, Michael Wall Street and Scott Norton, they go out, and there's only 10 men left in Ring 3. So they have to. So there's this part was stupid too. So here's another thing that's stupid. I was assuming the way it works was like, oh, there's 20 men in each ring. So each ring you wrestle until there's one guy left. And then so there's 3 men left, and then you consolidate into one ring. No, it's like when you get 10 men left, all 10 then have to go into the other ring. It's a little stupid, right? So 10 men left in ring 3, so they all go into
That's
ring for
that's
one.
the other thing. That's the other
Yeah.
thing that I had a problem with. So this would have been better.
Oh, this was awful.
This would have been a better way to do it. You have to eliminate the other 19 men in the ring, and then if you are, you're the sole survivor. You stay in that ring. Then
Yes.
ring 2, you're the sole survivor. Then when there's only 3 guys left, you meet and you
Yeah.
have a match. And the
Okay,
winner
that's
of
even
that
better.
match wins the World War III. Instead, it's like corralling these 10 guys. That's the other thing. People kept that was the other thing, and it ruins the finish of this fucking show. People kept going, like they kept leaving the ring and going back in. Like Luger's out for a little bit, Hogan and Flair are out. They go to a different ring.
Savage is out for a while. Brian
Yeah,
Knobs is out for a while. Yeah.
it just you can't follow it. And then when they do consolidate 2 rings, like they cut out Chris Cruz right. I know. I think they cut out Bischoff first. Whoever they cut off first, they cut to the 3 screens are still showing like. So you still don't know what you're looking at. They didn't make it like when there's only 2 rings left. You still know what you're looking at.
And here's the thing, they don't even know. They didn't even know if there were 10 men left. Like you hear them going like, so is that 10 men? Is it? I don't
They're
know. We're gonna do
counting.
a count. We're gonna do a count. Are we gonna? Do we know if it's 10 men? And here's the thing too. Ring 2 will eventually get down to 10 men, and they have to come over to Ring 1. But nobody talks about it. Nobody mentions it like they did for Ring 3. Nobody brings it up.
Yeah.
They just all just end up at Ring 1. It's so stupid. We get so Craig Pittman, he takes out Kurosawa, and then Joey Maggs gets thrown out. Then Bubba Rogers takes out Jim Duggan throws out Bubba Rogers. Scott Armstrong, something happened where we see a stretcher come. And basically what happened was when Scott Armstrong got eliminated, which we did not see, he must have landed badly because he was in a neck brace and he's getting stretchered out. It was worrisome, but don't worry. I guess it was just like not permanent because he's gonna wrestle some more after that, and after a couple of years, he becomes the WWE referee Scott Armstrong.
Oh, I thought you meant he's gonna wrestle. I thought you meant he's gonna wrestle someone in that match.
Oh no
You
no
could have
no!
told me that, and I would have believed you. And I watched this thing. You could have told me that he got off the stretcher and wrestled in the final ring.
Yeah, no. He wrestled he was still wrestling in WCW for a few more years before he decided
Yeah,
to
that I
retire referee. Yeah, but yeah, that's who he is, Scott Armstrong, the referee. If you guys are trying to figure out who that is, um, Bubba Rogers, he's out, so he just yanks Jim Duggan over the top rope. So I guess Jim Duggan is out. But while this is happening, you notice that Joey Maggs is still on the floor after he's been eliminated for a while, and he's like favoring his arm. So he hurt his arm too. So there's already 2 injuries from this stupid match.
Yeah, then nobody. Basically they might as well got injured in a broom closet because nobody fucking saw
Yeah,
it.
because nobody cares, nobody saw it. Yeah, it amounts to nothing. Road Warrior Hawk, he throws out Disco, and then Pittman throws out Dave Taylor. The Giant and One Man Gang, they have a face off, and it looks cool, but then stupid ass Hugh Morris gets in between them. And Hulk Hogan goes, you know what, this is getting filled. This ring is too full. Like he throws out Jerry Sags and he throws out Booker T. Then Hulk Hogan tosses out Kevin Sullivan. And then Savage and Lex Luger, they go, you know what? There's too much people in this ring. Let's just start fighting in the other ring for no reason. So they just go into another ring and they just start fighting. You know what? Like when I'm watching, like you mentioned, like so many people like outside the ring. Why wasn't there someone pulling off like a Nunzio and just sitting outside? Like they did that one Royal
They
Rumble.
probably could have, dude. Hogan. I think the only 4 guys that could have got away, not could have gotten away with not doing anything, were Hogan, Luger, Flair, Savage, and Sting. Those and Giant, those 6. But I think fucking Benoit could have like went to like the concession stand and came back. Nobody would have noticed it.
Yeah, but you know how like that one Royal Rumble where Nunzio's like waiting outside and he's like, if I
Yeah,
never actually enter and I just enter the end, I can win.
yeah.
And it's only like the Undertaker who scares him into the ring, right?
Mhm.
They should have had somebody like Disco Inferno do that, where he's just like, I'm gonna be smarter than all these guys. I'm gonna sit outside, and then like I don't know, like Hulk Hogan goes out, goes, no way, brother, and throws him in, like
Dude, you
because
want to hear
when
something sad? They
what?
could have done that a week. There's no way we could have seen it.
Yeah, you're probably right. We probably would have. They probably wouldn't have been able to catch in the camera. Um. Anyways, the Giant. Oh wait, I just talked about that. Oh, okay. Anyways, Hulk Hogan he throws out. Oh, Savage and Lex Luger they fight. Arn Anderson he throws out William Regal. Diamond Dallas Page and Johnny B. Bad they eliminate each other. So maybe this feud is continuing. And Craig Pittman gets eliminated. He just goes flying out the ring. Chris Benoit is out. Meng takes out Kurosawa, and then One Man Gang takes out Meng. Zodiac goes out. Then Sasaki takes out Hugh Morris. Hawk is taken out by Flying Brian. And then Hulk Hogan, he eliminates both Road Warrior Hawk and Kensuke Sasaki, who were their tag team partners in Japan, and he eliminates both of them. And then he backdrops Mr. Wonderful out. Eddie Guerrero, this is a cool spot in this match. He goes one on one with Arn Anderson, with Arn Anderson obviously having the edge on him because he's, veteran and stuff. But then Ric Flair puts the figure four on Eddie Guerrero as well. It's a good measure. And then Arn Anderson eliminates Eddie Guerrero. But it
I
was a
was
good
surprised Eddie Guerrero
exchange.
made it so close to the end. By the way,
Yeah. And I was surprised they allowed him to have such a moment to like have an interaction with Arn Anderson, where he like
well,
did
Arn
like a top
Anderson's
rope.
kind of a guy that you can have a Guerrero fight. It's not gonna look. It's not like it's Hogan. Hogan's
Yeah.
probably like,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
let's get the new guy over, brother. Have him beat up Arn
yeah.
Anderson, dude.
I don't know if they did that because they already saw something in Eddie, or if because like, this family lineage, they were just like, yo, he's one of
No,
the.
I I think someone saw something in Eddie because they also mentioned as a guy who could potentially win the world title. Bobby Heenan throws his name in.
Mm,
And I don't think that was just like Bobby Heenan making shit up. And even if it was Bobby Heenan making shit up, that showed me that Bobby Heenan saw something in this guy.
yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
staying so Arn and Ric Flair, they're kind of working together, and what do you call it? Arn has like Sting, and he's like, Rick, go up on top. And Ric Flair goes up on the top rope, but Sting reverses it and he slingshots Arn Anderson into Ric Flair, sending Ric Flair out. And then Hulk Hogan clotheslines Arn Anderson out. That was a big moment where both those guys got out. Lex Luger and Sting. By the way, the crowd loved that. So Ric Flair and Arn Anderson, they're just definitely like the lifeblood of WCW,
That's right,
And
baby.
Sting and Lex Luger they start working together. So there's after Flair and Arn are out. There's only 6 men left in the ring, and it's Lex Luger and Sting who decide to team up and work on the Giant, while Hogan and Savage decide to team up and work on their other Giant, the One Man Gang, right? Because the One Man Gang and the Giant are the two biggest guys. So you have two friends, Lex and Sting, working on one Giant, and you have two other friends, Savage and Hulk, working on another Giant. And I'm like, dude, they have they have the this is such a potential to have one of the coolest moments, the coolest face-offs that they could have, right? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about, right? Where
Yeah.
if they had Lex Luger and Sting and Hogan and Savage be the final four, and they just have a face-off, two friends against two friends, right? The visual's great, but they fuck it up because while Sting and Lex Luger they have Giant almost over the rope, over the top rope, Hulk Hogan just comes in and just eliminates all three guys like they're nothing. And then the Giant pulls Hulk Hogan down from the bottom of the ring, and Savage wins. And Savage takes out the One Man Gang and he wins. Hulk Hogan slams the Giant on the floor. He body slams the Giant on the floor. Nobody cares. Unlike when
No.
Hogan body slammed Andre, it's like I don't even know why he did that. Well, I don't know why he wasted a body slam like that. He runs into the ring and he's mad. He's like, I was pulled underneath. I was pulled underneath. Gene Okerlund gets in the ring. The referee's like, I didn't see it. He gives the belt to Savage, who's getting booed now. Savage gets in the microphone and he's like, Hey Hulk, I didn't see nothing. It is what it is. And they argue a bit some more. And they go, you know what? We're going to watch the footage tomorrow night on Nitro, and then you'll see what really happened, Savage. And that is how the show ends. This match was horrific. The ending, what they just totally wasted a great face off with Sting, Lex Luger, Hogan, and Savage. I will say though, the fact that they ended with that cliffhanger of like stay tuned, they were able to use it as a plug for the Monday Night Nitro, right? The next night.
Yeah,
So because of that, I'll give this match a C.
I uh, I guess I should watch that Nitro, see how they resolve it. I don't know. I don't. I mean, Hogan and Savage won a match until a year later, so it's because of the NWO shit. It's not because of this. I thought the finish, man. I didn't like the finish at all. First of all, like I think they were
Yeah,
trying to replicate
I
Royal
didn't like
Rumble
the finish at
'92.
all. I did not like it. No,
It was horrible.
it was
I
horrible. It
think
was
that they were trying to. First of all, Hogan goes underneath the ring. Referee goes, "Oh, I don't, what is so? There's only one referee because people have been going underneath the ring the whole fucking night. The whole
yeah,
fucking night, people have been leaving that ring like that, and no one ever was like, "Oh, the match is over." So Hogan does that. They can't do instant replay. There's instant. They've been doing instant replay the whole show. Why can't they just have instant replay? And then the other thing is like it takes away from Savage's moment. It would have been a lot
yeah,
more if
100% takes it away. Yeah, he got
it would
booed.
have been a lot more if Giant pulled Hogan out like Sid did in the other match, and then Hogan's body slams the Giant on the ground, and then Savage and One Man Gang go at it for a little bit. But like Savage wins the belt. It kind of replicates the WrestleMania 4 storyline where Hogan has his controversy and then Savage gets the belt. But Savage doesn't even get a moment to celebrate being champion. Like, there's no, like, wow, this guy was an announcer and now he's the champion again. Like, do you want to come back a year straight? It's Hogan is just basically like, no, this doesn't mean anything, and that's my belt. And it's like, if you're gonna treat Savage like that, why don't you just have Hogan win the match? Why even have Savage win the match? It just was, and then so they're arguing, and people are booing these two guys. They're being
Yeah,
booed. Savage got the biggest pops on all the WWF pay-per-views in '94. Hogan got huge pops a year ago. They're being booed, and people are just walking out. Savage won the belt, and people are leaving in droves behind him. In droves. I couldn't believe they kept the camera on that shot. You see people looking bored, look like leaving, not even paying attention. And this is Hogan and Savage. It was a
uh-huh.
fucking disaster.
It was the boos were deserved. You
Yeah.
know, it
And I
was.
think I
Go ahead.
think
Sorry.
this is where Vince decided to go after them for being old when he made those sketches, the Huckster,
Mm.
the Nacho Man, because I think he thought to himself, well, my top guys can still fucking go. These two guys can't even go anymore, and they're out of touch. So I'm gonna call them on it because they're beating me in the ratings. The only problem is, that didn't matter. But man, they both look like out of touch fossils at the end of this match. And I'm a guy who was arguing that Vince should have pushed them in '93 to '95, and they look like two buffoons. Hogan made
It
them
was
both look like
awful.
buffoons.
Yeah, it was awful. It was World War III. This concept of the three rings. Um, they're gonna unfortunately go back to that. They're gonna do it again, right?
Three more times.
Oh my god. I don't know how they didn't watch this first one and realize this was a terrible idea, but it's like one of those like the pay-per-view, most of the matches are good, and if you want to watch some good matches, definitely watch it, but don't watch this last battle royal. It's like it is if Eddie Kingston was a wrestling match, this is what it would be like. It's like just
It
like
is.
what the
I've
a lot
never
of
heard
talk,
anyone say,
a lot of talk, oh, good hype talk, right? But then when you
Mhm.
actually see it, you're just like, this is because that's what Eddie Kingston is, right? The good talk. But then when you see the match, you're just like, what the fuck is going on? That's what it is. It's
I
awful.
mean, there are ways to. I mean, I think the only thing that ruined the match too, it might have been better to watch live. It might have been even better to watch in the arena. I don't know who's to say, but the production values also completely ruined the match. The announcers, like everyone, like that really takes away from it. The way they do the camera cuts, the way they don't tell you which screen is which, the way the announcers are just completely lost. It's a fucking mess. And you know, after a while, what I decided during the match is I'm just going to focus on one screen and I'm just going to watch that as if it's the only match. But then they cut away to a different ring on that screen. And it's almost like sensory overload.
It's awful.
It's awful. One of the worst things I've ever seen. All right.
I'm ready to go back to WWF. That's how bad this was.
Next week, we're back in your house 5. We have Bret Hart versus British Bulldog. In 2 weeks, Starrcade 95 with the main event of Ric Flair versus Macho Man and undercard of New Japan versus WCW. In 3 weeks, Royal Rumble 96. Take notes. Fucking, this is how you do it. Royal Rumble 96, Undertaker versus Bret Hart. In 4 weeks, Super Bowl 6. It is the Giant versus Hulk Hogan in a steel cage. What are you looking forward to?
Well, I always like the Rumble. What about you?
Um, yeah, next week I'm looking forward to Bret Hart and British Bulldog. I'm looking forward to the Rumble because the '96 Rumble isn't that good, but it's way better than this, and I'm looking forward to seeing a battle royal done right. And I'm not looking forward to Super Bowl, but we're gonna do it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the WWF stuff right now.
Yeah, same here.
All right, guys, that's the show. I hope you enjoyed it. Please follow us on Instagram and follow me on TikTok, Ray Goods Comedy. Subscribe to the podcast, guys. A final note: I need a doctor. You ignored me for months, but it is what it is. Dude. You know what's fucking crazy to me? You know what's fucking
What?
crazy to me? Like people taking like AEW side against Ray Phoenix and being like he should be grateful he had a job, and that's why like I don't like AEW fans because they're not fans of the wrestlers. Like I respect Ray Phoenix and Penta for putting their bodies on line for my entertainment.
You know,
That's
you know what I was telling my friend today?
yeah. Wrestling fans are disgusting.
AEW. I was about to call him WCW.
Mhm.
AEW should just openly shit on Ray Phoenix tonight. They should. They should just talk shit about him
Unless
right
he
now.
has a real case. Unless he has a real case.
No, I would. You know why I would talk shit about him? Like I would just like have comments on my comments be like, yo, Ray Phoenix doesn't want to wrestle for you guys anymore. So he doesn't like he's not gonna be on TV. Just openly shit on him because like that's basically how you feel. Tell us how you really feel because that would actually make me want to watch their show. Because I would be
They're
like,
not
I want
gonna
to
do
know
that.
what they're gonna say next week.
I have a weird feeling that he has a valid complaint, which is why they're not gonna do that.
Yeah,
But
but you know what? That would be great if like you tune into AEW and they're just like, yeah, we hate GCW. I hate Effie. Don't ever talk about my family again. Like they should just do everything that the dirt sheets are that's going on with them. They should just embrace it.
I just
Dude,
I just it's
you
it's
would
weird.
watch it if you knew they
It's
were gonna
weird to
sell.
me to see fans as bootlickers of a company. Like these fucking fans who claim they're smart fans and didn't like WWF. I don't like any company. I think every company's evil.
Yes,
Um, I
everyone.
think WCW fuck people over. ECW fuck people. I'm not a company person. I'm a wrestler person. Okay, stop. I'm talking to the cat. I'm a
Yeah, yeah,
wrestler
yeah.
person, and I support the wrestlers. And these AEW fans, they want AEW wrestlers to jump off fucking buildings and put their heads through fucking glass. But when these guys are injured and they have complaints, you tell them to sit down and shut up. And it's like bro. All right. Do you know what I would do honestly if I saw some of the AEW fans and I'm Ray Phoenix, I would say Tony Khan, yeah, put me back on TV, and then I would let's say I'm fighting Darby Allin, I'd put him in a headlock and sit there for 20 minutes. You don't care about my body anyway, so why should I fucking kill myself for you?
Yeah, for real.
All right, buddy. That's
All right, talk to you
you know
later.
what Ray Phoenix should propose. He should be like, hey, why don't we bring back World War III?
Yeah, yeah, they should totally do that. They should. No, 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 dude. 4 rings. Think about
And
it.
90
Think about it.
wrestlers.
4 rings, 90
30.
wrestlers. Think
He
about
has
it.
90 wrestlers anyway. So all
Yeah,
right,
he could do
guys.
it.
Next week in your house 5, Daddy. We'll see you then.